Hey everyone, and welcome back.
Yeah.
A lot of you out there are really trying to understand how being an authorized user can impact credit scores. And yeah, it sounds like one of those things that's almost too good to be true, right?
Right.
Like, can you really just get your name on someone else's credit card and boom, your score just magically goes up?
Yeah.
Well, in this deep dive, we are going to explore both the good and the bad, the sunshine and the shadows of being an authorized user, so you can make some good decisions about your own credit.
It's a really interesting strategy, and I think to really understand how powerful it can be, we need to break it down. Like,
Okay.
how does it actually work? An authorized user, in the simplest terms, is someone who's given permission to use a credit card account, but they don't have the legal responsibility to pay the bills.
Okay, so it's kind of like being a guest driver on someone else's car insurance.
Yeah.
You get to enjoy the ride,
Right.
but you're not on the hook for the premiums.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, and just like with car insurance, there are benefits and risks to being an authorized user.
Okay.
So let's start with the potential upside.
All right, let's talk about the good stuff. Everyone loves a good credit score boost, right?
Exactly. The real magic here is that as an authorized user, the entire history of that account,
Okay.
the payment history and how much of the credit limit is being used, that all becomes part of your credit report.
Yeah.
So imagine this, you're new to credit. Maybe your score is sitting somewhere around 620.
Okay.
And you get added as an authorized user to your parents' credit card, and they have a perfect 10-year history of paying on time,
Right.
keeping a low balance. Suddenly, you're basically riding their coattails, and your score could jump up to 700 or even higher.
Wow. So that's a huge difference.
It can be, yeah.
With like a credit score makeover.
Exactly. And here's another bonus.
Yeah.
Becoming an authorized user doesn't trigger what's called a hard inquiry on your credit report.
Now, hold on. Can you explain what a hard inquiry is? I've heard that term, but I'm not really sure I understand it.
Sure. A hard inquiry is basically when a lender checks your credit report because you've applied for credit,
Okay.
for the loan or a new credit card.
Got it.
These inquiries can actually lower your score by a few points.
Okay.
But when you're just added as an authorized user, there's no application process, so your score is not affected.
So that's great news for anyone who's really trying to build or rebuild their credit.
Exactly.
So no hard inquiry potential for a really big score boost. What else is there to love about this authorized user thing?
Well, to get the most out of it, you want to make sure that the primary cardholder's account is being reported to all three of the major credit bureaus,
Okay.
Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
Right.
These are the companies that basically keep track of your credit history,
Mm-hmm.
and the more positive information they have about you, the better your score will be. And a lot of credit card issuers do report authorized user activity to all three, so you're really getting like a triple benefit there.
Makes sense. Okay. So we've covered all the good stuff, the sunny side of being an authorized user.
Right.
But we've got to talk about the potential downsides, right? I mean, nothing in life is free.
You're absolutely right. There are some risks involved, and it's important to understand what those are.
Okay, so let's unpack those risks.
Yeah.
What should people be aware of?
The biggest risk is that you inherit any negative stuff that happens with the account.
Okay.
We talked about how the authorized user inherits the payment history and the credit utilization.
Yeah.
Well, that goes both ways.
Oh.
So if the primary cardholder starts missing payments or maxes out the card or carries high balances,
Right.
all that negative stuff can end up on your credit report too, and that's not going to help your score.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it can mean, imagine this. You get added to your friend's credit card because they have a great score and they've always been responsible.
Right.
But then things change. Maybe they lose their job or something and they start racking up debt,
Mm-hmm.
and then they max out the card and it gets sent to collections.
Oh.
All of that would show up on your credit report and your score could drop by a lot even though you didn't even spend any money on the card.
That is scary. So you're kind of hitching your wagon to someone else's horse there.
You are, yeah. And that's the biggest risk with being an authorized user. You don't have much control over what the primary cardholder does.
So it's not just about finding someone with good credit. It's about finding someone you really trust.
Exactly. You're putting your credit score in their hands.
Right.
So trust and open communication are super important.
I see why it's so important to understand both the benefits and the risks. This is not something to just jump into.
Definitely not. You have to weigh the pros and cons carefully.
Okay,
Whoa.
so we've laid out the ups and downs of being an authorized user. But what does this all mean for you, the listener? How can you actually use this information to make good decisions?
That's a great question, and it's something we're going to dive into in the next part of our deep dive. We'll talk about how to choose the right person to be your primary cardholder
Right.
and what steps you can take to minimize the risks involved.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how being an authorized user can be a really powerful tool for building credit, but it's not without its risks.
Exactly. We talked about the potential for some big score boosts.
Right.
And the fact that you don't have to worry about a hard inquiry on your credit report. But we also talked about the danger of inheriting negative information from the primary cardholder's actions.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act.
It is.
So let's talk strategy. If someone is thinking about becoming an authorized user, how do they choose the right person to connect their credit to?
Right.
What are the things they should be thinking about?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the ideal primary cardholder is someone who has a proven history of managing credit responsibly. You want to look for someone who consistently pays their bills on time, keeps their balances low, and ideally has a long credit history.
Got it.
That's going to maximize your potential benefits and minimize your risk.
So it's not just about finding someone with a good credit score. It's about finding someone you trust to handle their finances responsibly.
Exactly. You're basically putting your credit score in their hands.
Yeah.
So trust and open communication are really essential.
Yeah, absolutely. And before you even think about becoming an authorized user, I think it's crucial to have a real conversation with that potential primary cardholder. Now, talk about their spending habits, how they approach credit, and how committed they are to making those payments on time.
Right.
Transparency is so key here.
I agree. It's a partnership.
Yeah,
And like any good partnership, it needs clear communication and understanding from both sides.
totally. Okay, so let's say you found the perfect primary cardholder, someone you trust completely.
Right.
Are there any other steps you can take to kind of minimize those risks?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for starters, keep a close eye on your credit report.
Okay.
You can actually get your credit reports for free from each of the 3 major credit bureaus.
Right.
Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion once a year. And checking your report regularly lets you catch any potential problems early on,
Like what kind of problems?
like missed payments or if your credit utilization suddenly jumps up.
Okay, so knowledge is power.
Right.
Monitoring your report gives you that power to stay informed and take action if you need to.
Absolutely. And here's another thing to keep in mind. If the primary cardholder starts doing things that hurt your credit,
Yeah.
you can always ask to be removed from the account.
Oh, so there's an exit strategy if things go bad.
Exactly. It's kind of a safety net that can give you some peace of mind.
Right.
And once you're removed, the account will eventually disappear from your credit report, so any damage should be minimal.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's a relief. Okay, so we've talked about choosing a primary cardholder and how to protect yourself, but before we move on, I want to address something that I think might be on our listeners' minds.
Sure. What is it?
Well, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits of being an authorized user, but is it a guaranteed way to build credit?
Right.
Is it foolproof?
That's a great question. And, while being an authorized user can be a really valuable tool,
Yeah.
it's not a magic solution. It's not a replacement for developing good credit habits yourself.
So it's not like a shortcut to a perfect credit score.
Think of it more like a booster.
Oh.
It can help, but it's not a substitute for responsible financial behavior.
Makes sense. So even if you're an authorized user, you still need to focus on building those good credit habits.
Absolutely. Whether you're an authorized user or not, responsible behavior, like paying your bills on time, keeping your credit utilization low, and managing your debt, those are the real cornerstones of building a strong credit history.
That's a good point. What if someone isn't eligible or comfortable with becoming an authorized user?
Yeah.
Are there other things they can do to build their credit?
Absolutely. There are a few other ways to build credit, and they actually give you more control
Oh,
because you're the one directly responsible for your actions.
right.
2 popular options are secured credit cards and credit builder loans.
Okay, let's talk about those. I think some of our listeners might not be familiar with them.
Sure. So secured credit cards are a great option for people who have limited or damaged credit. They require a security deposit, which basically becomes your credit limit.
Okay,
So you're essentially lending yourself money to show that you can handle credit responsibly.
so it's like training wheels for credit building.
Exactly. And by using a secured card responsibly, making your payments on time,
Right.
you build a positive payment history, which gets reported to the credit bureaus, and that helps you establish or improve your score.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about these credit builder loans? How do those work?
Credit builder loans are another great option. You borrow a small amount of money, which is held in a secure account. You make regular payments over a set period of time, and once you've paid back the whole loan, you get the funds.
Okay.
Plus, you have a nice positive payment history on your credit report.
So it's like a forced savings plan that also helps you build credit.
Exactly. Both secured cards and credit builder loans are great ways to demonstrate that you're creditworthy and build a solid credit foundation.
It's so good to know there are multiple options out there.
Yeah.
But with all these choices, how can someone figure out the best path for their specific situation?
That's where getting some personalized guidance can be really helpful.
Okay.
Talking to a financial advisor or a credit counselor can give you some valuable insights.
It's like having a coach in your corner guiding you through this whole credit world.
Exactly. They can help you look at your individual circumstances, your goals, your risk tolerance, and give you recommendations and strategies that are tailored to your specific credit journey.
So whether you're thinking about becoming an authorized user or looking at secured cards and credit builder loans or even just seeking out professional advice, the key takeaway here is to be proactive.
Right.
And take control of your credit journey.
I couldn't agree more. It's all about understanding your options, making informed decisions, and ultimately reaching your credit goals.
Well said. Wow. It sounds like there are some really effective strategies out there to build a healthy credit profile.
Absolutely. And the great thing is you don't have to do it all alone. Financial advisors and credit counselors can be super helpful.
Yeah, it's great to know there's help out there for people who need it. So as we wrap up our deep dive into authorized users and credit building, what are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
Okay, well, I think it's really important to emphasize that becoming an authorized user can be a fantastic tool for building credit.
All right.
But you need to approach it with both enthusiasm and caution.
Yeah.
Choosing a responsible primary cardholder and having open communication, those are absolutely critical to making it a successful experience.
Yeah, it really is a partnership based on trust and transparency. Both people need to be on the same page about their spending habits and their financial responsibility.
Exactly. And even with the potential benefits of being an authorized user, building good credit habits yourself should always be a top priority,
Yeah.
Paying bills on time, keeping your credit utilization low, managing debt wisely. Those are the fundamental building blocks of a healthy financial profile.
So it's not about shortcuts. It's about building a solid foundation through consistent, responsible actions.
Exactly. And for those who might not be eligible to become an authorized user, or maybe they're just not comfortable with it,
Right.
remember there are other paths you can explore. Secured credit cards and credit builder loans can be great stepping stones to establish creditworthiness and build a positive credit history.
It's good to know there are options for everyone, no matter where they're starting from. And, if this whole credit thing feels overwhelming or confusing, getting professional advice from a financial advisor or a credit counselor can really make a big difference.
Absolutely. They can help you understand all the details, navigate the complexities, and empower you to make good decisions every step of the way.
So to sum it all up, building a strong credit history is a goal that anyone can achieve. It takes knowledge and strategy and a commitment to responsible habits, but the rewards are definitely worth it.
I agree. A good credit score opens doors to so many financial opportunities.
Right.
Whether it's getting better loan terms, qualifying for a mortgage, or even renting an apartment, it's an investment in your financial well-being, and it can have a huge impact on your life.
That's a great point. Building good credit isn't just about the numbers. It's about creating stability for yourself and opening up possibilities for your future.
Exactly. It gives you more control over your finances and empowers you to reach your goals.
Well said. This has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of authorized users and credit building. We hope you feel empowered with the knowledge and insights to make smart decisions on your own credit journey.
Me too. And remember, building credit is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
With patience and persistence and a commitment to responsible habits, you can achieve your goals and unlock a brighter financial future for yourself.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We encourage you to keep exploring the resources we talked about today and take those steps toward building a strong and healthy credit profile. Until next time,
Keep learning.
keep growing and keep diving deep into the world of personal finance.
If this podcast helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Thanks for watching.